If you think that Nike football boots are just that, football boots designed for kicking a spherical ball in the back of a net, then you're completely wrong. Hi guys, I'm OJ from Lovell Rugby, and today I'm going to be matching your rugby playing position and style to a pair of Nike boots. First up then we have the brand new Nike Phantom GX Elite. Now this was designed with the midfielder in football in mind, and I'd argue it is exactly the same for rugby. This is designed for those midfield inside backs who love to kick the ball. The reason for that primarily is because of the upper on the boot. As you can see, there's a little bit of a lace cover here that essentially gives you a larger surface area to kick the ball. So along with this larger surface area, the surface itself is actually what's called Nike Grip Knit, which is a new technology which essentially just makes the boot sticky. You can compare it to the likes of the Adidas Predator Malice. However, it's slightly different. As you can see on the Pred, they have rubber grip elements on top of the surface. You can almost hear it, to create that grip, which can make the upper of the boot a little bit stiff and a little bit more uncomfortable. However, with the Nike Phantom GX, this smooth, sticky material actually is very, very flexible and very, very comfortable. Along with that, it provides you that control in all conditions. So when you're playing on a bog that's completely covered in rain, you're going to have that extra grip when contacting the ball. As you can see, along with that, both boots have an asymmetric lacing system to increase the surface area of the boot that you're trying to strike the ball with. However, Nike have gone just that little bit further to give you just a little bit more surface area in case you miss-hit the ball. Of course, you're still aiming for that sweet spot on your foot with the knuckle of your foot, but you have that little bit of extra leeway in case you miss-hit it. Really innovative stuff. Of course, kicking isn't the only thing you're going to be doing in these boots on a rugby pitch. You also want to be able to move around the park too and have enough traction in those tight contact areas and tight spaces to be able to play and perform effectively. And the Phantom helps you do that very, very well. That's primarily because of the sole plate here and the stud pattern. So on the sole plate, you're going to find these tri-star studs, which essentially give you multi-directional grip. So whether you're turning left, right, forwards, backwards, you're going to have grip in every direction. So alongside these tri-star shaped studs are also the Nike flex grooves, as you can see highlighted in the yellow here, running across the underside of the boot. What these do are provide you with the flexibility required to turn in tight spaces that typically match the movements you're commonly going to make in a game. So as you can see, it's a rather flexible sole plate. It's not as stiff as what you might find on other boots, which really helps you in those agile tight turns that you're going to find yourself in as an inside back. Rather than being in open spaces, you need that agility to move around and beat defenders in front of you. And the Phantom does that really well. What's even more impressive than the kicking surface and the agility improved by the sole plate and its design is the comfort of these boots. I'll tell you what, these are some of the most comfortable boots I've ever worn, almost as comfortable as the Mizunos you've seen me review previously, so make sure you check out that video. The reason for that is a lot to do with the heel. Now usually you'd find a stiff internal heel counter to really lock your foot in. However, Nike have gone for a softer design here. As you can see, it's very flexible. What that does is completely eradicate any heel pressure and tightness, but without completely removing that locked in feel that you have. So as you can see, the asymmetric design around the ankle and along the top of the foot here with the fly knit design, which wraps your foot really well, will provide you with a locked in feel, especially with that deep lacing system that Nike always have on their boots. But the difference is with these boots is that the heel counter isn't going to give you those blisters at the back because it's just so soft and comfortable. Next up, we have the Nike Mercurial Vapor 15. Now, this is a classic boot from Nike. It's been around since probably before I was born, and I was wearing it throughout my young playing career. It's one of my personal favorites. However, it's been completely revamped with the Vapor 15 model primarily due to the new Air Zoom technology running through the forefoot of the boot. Now, the Air Zoom technology comes from basketball and running shoes, essentially giving you more effective energy return from every step you make, whether that's a acceleration step, deceleration, side steps, whatever. It's going to give you more return from that, essentially like a trampoline pushing back against your foot as you press through the ground. That not only makes for more optimized acceleration and turning, but also a lot more comfort too. These boots are incredibly comfortable, especially compared to when I was wearing them back in the day, while still providing you with that enhanced speed that you want from them. The other part of the reason for that speed and aggressiveness that you're going to feel from the boot is with the 3 different types of stud you're going to find on the sole plate. We've got the tri-star shaped studs that we found on the Phantoms as well, providing you with that multi-directional grip through the forefoot. After that, at the top of the boot, we have some chevron shaped studs. It's a bit of a mouthful, but these are going to help you whilst accelerating. So when you need to get that additional bit of grip in the toe whilst you're pushing off, it's going to provide that. Combine that with the very, very stiff sole plate, which you'd commonly find on a forwards boot. That's how stiff it is. It's really going to help you in that contact area, but primarily when pushing off and accelerating. These boots are just pure speed. So with all of that speed, you're going to need locking into the boot, and it does that with the internal speed cage, and again, another deep lacing system on top of the boots. The Flyknit one-piece design running through the middle wraps your foot and just keeps you locked in for the ride, which is necessary when you've got this roller coaster ride of a boot. You need locking in. All of that technology might make you think, oh no, it's going to be a little bit heavy. Not the case. These boots weigh in at a staggering 187 grams. So you've got all of that speed and all those tech features whilst not compromising for weight. These are going to feel really light on your feet. Overall, like I said, pure gas in a boot. Of course, these were primarily designed as a football boot, so they're going to give you a little bit extra when it comes to kicking the ball too. They have this Vapoposit Plus skin on top of the boot, which essentially, as you can hear, gives you that extra grip while striking the ball. As opposed to the Phantoms, these give you more of a barefoot sensation whilst kicking the ball, especially compared to the Adidas RS7. These boots were both designed with speed in mind, and they both provide that. However, they do it in slightly different ways. And the ways that the Rugby boot do it compromise its weight a little bit. It offers you a little bit more protection compared to the Vapor. But hopefully, if you're wearing the Vapor, people won't even come close to touching you. As always then, finishing off, we have the comfort of the boot, which in my opinion is one of the most important factors, because I want to perform through the full 80 rather than just in the first 2 minutes. And Nike, as always, do a great job in this category, especially with the addition of the Air Zoom in the forefoot. It just provides that cushioned feel whilst jogging around the pitch, and especially whilst making those sharp turns. Really comfortable, especially for a speed boot, which is often not the case because they're so tight. Usually they get really wrapped up and give you a little bit more of a blister, but these ones are very comfortable. Right, so having tried both these boots out now for a bit of time, I can tell you they are very different in feel. Although both football boots, I'd easily and happily wear these on a rugby pitch, as I have done for the majority of my playing career with the Vapor. The Vapor then is a fast boot. It's very, very aggressive and explosive for all the reasons I've previously mentioned. It's going to make you feel fast, and it's going to give you that edge in those wider channels. Arguably, I'd say this is an outside backs boot. However, we have seen the likes of Adam Hastings wearing these boots too in those inside channels, as it provides an alternative, more barefoot sensation when kicking the ball that some kickers prefer. Personally, I love it. I feel I can get a bigger, fatter strike on the ball when it's a bit more barefoot. So yeah, it's an all-round speed boot which provides an alternative method of kicking the ball and a different feel in that sense. On the other hand, the Phantom then is all about kicking, in my opinion. Having struck the ball in this a few times, it's definitely different to the Vapor, and I'd say I'm a big fan of it. The grip knit on this larger surface area is actually unlike anything I've ever actually tried before. Not only does it actually provide that grip in the dry, but also very well in the wet. I can't quite explain it because it's not so obvious, like with the Predator Malice, where it's got those rubber grip elements sticking off the surface. Just the material itself with this thumbprint design just wraps the ball really well. I can't explain it. I can just feel the ball moving in the direction I want to put it in a lot easier. Also, with the added grip knit on the outside, with the increased surface area, it makes kicking spiral bombs that little bit easier. So that's one little bit to know. But yeah, these are an inside backs boot. If you like kicking the ball and you like stepping people in close spaces, these are for you. As for sizing with both of these, I've worn Nike boots my whole life and they've always fit true to size. I have got essentially ice skates for feet, they're that narrow, and the Vapor really fits them quite well. It's always been a snug boot for me. Very narrow in that internal sprint cage, but yeah, it fits my feet very well. In terms of the length, true to size as always. Same with the Phantom. There's a little bit more room in the Phantom around the toe box area slightly, but again, from toe to heel, true to size. Both of these boots come in a high top option too. The Mercurial comes in the Superfly 9, which again has that dynamic fit collar poking out the top, which offers you a slightly more streamlined fit. But I wouldn't say these are feeling like they're strapped on, these are still equally good. And then the Phantom GX comes in a dynamic fit as well, which means the lace cover comes all the way over the laces, and it again has that slightly higher collar around the ankle rather than sitting below the ankle. So yeah guys, these are two strong performing football boots that you can get away with wearing on a rugby pitch. And not only get away, but actually perform really well in them. You can find both of these in all of their colorways, along with those high top options on the Lovell Rugby website. Let me know down below which one's your favorite. I'm really torn between the two. I've worn the Vapor my whole life, but this new Phantom is something I haven't experienced quite yet. It's quite phenomenal. So yeah, let me know down below which one you prefer. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss a single video. And other than that guys, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.